In this explainer, we are going to crack open an ancient text, the Yogacara Bhumi Shastra. But listen, this isn't going to be some dry academic lecture. We're here to pull out an incredibly powerful and practical method for understanding how your own mind actually works. So let's kick things off with this question, right? Because we're not just here to learn about concepts. We're here to build a toolkit. We're going to see how we can transform this ancient wisdom into a step-by-step guide that you can actually use in your day-to-day life. And the centerpiece of this toolkit? It's a method called the 16 aspects. Now, you can think of them as 16 different lenses or 16 different angles of investigation. They're designed to help us look at the Four Noble Truths not as something you have to believe in, but as realities you can observe directly for yourself in your own experience. Okay, so here's our roadmap. First, we're going to reframe our whole approach. Then, we'll dive deep into each of the Four Noble Truths, looking at them through their 4 unique aspects. And finally, we'll put that whole toolkit together so you can see how it all works as one system. All right, let's dive right in. We're taking one of the most famous teachings in all of Eastern philosophy, but we're going to shift our perspective on it completely. We're moving it from being just a passive idea to an active, hands-on guide for looking at your own life. The whole point here is to empower you with a practical framework. The idea is that by the end of this, you'll have a structured way to look directly at your own life and your own mind, to see how things actually tick for yourself. We're going to begin our investigation with the first noble truth, dukkha. Now, you often hear this translated as suffering, right? And that's a bit of a heavy word. A much more accurate way to think about it is that underlying pervasive sense of dissatisfaction or stress or just feeling like something's not quite right, that hum in the background of our lives. So the text gives us 4 really specific lenses to look at this truth. It tells us to observe our experience as being impermanent, constantly changing, to see it as inherently unsatisfying because of that change, and to see that it's empty of any fixed permanent essence and lacks some kind of ultimate unchanging me in charge. And here is the absolute key. The text puts a huge emphasis on that very first aspect. By really learning to observe impermanence, just the raw fact that everything is always changing, we get this direct, powerful insight into the other 3. It's like the master key that unlocks the whole thing. To make this super practical, the text splits our field of observation into 2 big areas. First, we look at what it calls internal matters. That's everything going on inside us, our body, our thoughts, our feelings. Then, we turn our attention outward to external matters, the world we see, hear, and touch all around us. And this is where it gets really fascinating, because the text gets so specific. This isn't some vague, reflect on life kind of deal. No, it's guiding us to observe concrete, verifiable changes in our own lives. From watching ourselves age, to our fortunes going up and down, to the way emotions like anger or peace just come and go. And then we see the exact same principle of constant change applied to everything we perceive externally. The text points to everything, from a building being built only to later decay, to a garden blooming and then withering away. Even a single note of music. It arises and then it's gone. It's all in flux. Okay, so we've observed the what, this pervasive dissatisfaction rooted in change. Now we're going to use our toolkit to investigate the why. What's the origin of all this? And that brings us to the second noble truth. So the text breaks down how craving, or attachment, works in 4 distinct ways. It's the initial cause, like planting a seed. Then it accumulates all the conditions needed for that seed to grow. It's the force that makes the dissatisfaction actually arise. And it acts as the supporting condition that keeps the whole cycle going. It's a complete process. So, we've investigated the problem, and we've investigated its cause. Now our observation toward the solution. Is there an end to this cycle? Well, the third noble truth points to exactly that possibility, and it's called cessation. The 4 aspects here describe a really profound state. It's not just the stopping of the cause. It's described as a deep peace, a real tranquility. It's called wondrous or sublime, the highest state you can imagine. And it's the definitive escape, a total release. So you see, this isn't just about the absence of something bad. It's the presence of something truly deeply good. So how in the world do we actually get there? This brings us, finally, to the how-to. the practical nuts and bolts method for realizing this cessation. This is the fourth noble truth, the path. And these four aspects describe the nature of the path itself. It is the direct route to the goal. It works because it's in accordance with the way things actually are. It's an active practice, something you do to make progress. And ultimately, it's the vehicle of deliverance. It's what actually carries you out of the whole cycle. Okay, let's pull back for a second and bring all of this together. Let's look at the complete investigative toolkit that we've just assembled. This is the whole system in one shot. And this table just lays it all out so perfectly. You can really see that elegant 4x4 structure, can't you? 4 truths, and each one has 4 specific aspects for us to investigate. This shows you it's not just some random collection of ideas. It's a deeply systematic and logical method for exploring our entire experience. So if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. This framework isn't designed to just be philosophy you think about. It's meant to be taken off the screen and used as a lens for your own observation. It transforms an idea into a moment-to-moment practice of seeing things clearly. So we'll end with this thought. This ancient guide, this precise, structured map for observation, is now your personal toolkit for discovery. The only question left is, what will you find when you start to look?